Hi guys, I'm the Dutch Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing my first ever comic book. This one, Obi-Wan and Anakin. I'm reviewing this because I'm slowly leading up to Rogue One, and this is what comes next in the timeline after Phantom Menace. So I did my Phantom Menace review last week. If you've missed that review, you can click right here to see that, because you probably should know what I think about that. And then comes this comic in the timeline. This is a limited run of 5 issues. And it takes place 3 years after the Phantom Menace. So this comic, of course, is about Obi-Wan and Anakin. They're on a mission on a planet called Cornelian 4. And they're there because there was a distress call to the Jedi Temple saying there was an issue on Cornelian 4 and the Jedi should come help. So they went there, and then you actually see Anakin and Obi-Wan on a mission together. And you actually see these guys interact. Things that the prequels never did. Things that Attack of the Clones talks about. You know, at the beginning of Attack of the Clones, they go up in the elevator and they talk about adventures, and I'm like, why can't I see those adventures? This is one of those adventures! And initially, this would be a comic for me that I would not read because it's between my most hated movies of the Star Wars franchise. Like, I don't like Phantom Menace at all. I hate Attack of the Clones, my most hated movie of all time. So why would I read this? Well, because this is one of the things that the prequels should have done. So I will get into what I liked about it first, then I'll say what I didn't like too much, and then I'll give my grade in the end. So, as I said, this is essentially what the prequels should have done. Explore the relation between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I mean, come on guys, how hard is it to actually make a movie about 2 guys who go on adventures in a sci-fi universe? Why couldn't we have that in the prequels? It's like, this is essentially what that should have been. You see how a few years after they are Master and Padawan, how they interact with each other, and it is good, and it's exactly like Obi-Wan described in the original Star Wars. Like, he was a good friend. He was a good guy. And it's like, yeah, I buy it because Anakin is a good guy in this comic. And you buy that. And it's like, why the fuck couldn't the movies do that? Whatever, you know? I'm glad we got this comic. I really am, because it did give us a little bit more of that. And we already had the entire Clone Wars TV series, but this is something between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. There's nothing at all except for this between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So to have this, I like it. I think it's good that they did that. What it also does, and that's something that the prequels do, but this does a little bit more, which is always good, is the relation between Anakin and Palpatine. Already in this comic, through flashbacks, you see Palpatine go on an errand and taking Anakin with him, and actually already slowly manipulating, like we see in the movies. Like, already we can see it in the movies. That is one thing the prequels did well, show how Palpatine slowly persuaded Anakin. Like, this comic does it even more, and I love that shit. That's one of the good things that the prequels did, and it's good that this comic did it as well. And lastly, I'll say that this comic looks gorgeous. It's beautiful. The artwork is phenomenal. Out of all the Star Wars comics so far, this is the best artwork. It looks fantastic. I mean, just start with the cover. That's a great cover, come on. And I mean, this is the first page. This is the first few pages, like, so you don't really see a whole lot of spoilers. This, I mean, it looks great. This is the next page. Just look at it. It looks phenomenal. And it's, I won't show anything more because at that point I might spoil things, and this review is spoiler free. But seriously, artwork in this thing is phenomenal. It's beautiful to look at, so that's a big plus. So those were just a few good things, but they were really big overall things of the comic. So I do have a lot more issues with it. Definitely does have issues for me, but those are more nitpicky, and these are more good overall things. So overall, the comic is a lot better than I may let it sound in this review. Because the planet they're on, called Cornelian 4, is a planet with 2 factions. The factions are called the Open and Closed. I'm not kidding you. Those are the names of the 2 factions. actually people thought, okay, we are going to call ourselves closed, and the others are going to call themselves open. I'm like, I know the prequels did a lot of things shitty with politics and made it boring, but this is stupid. This really is stupid. I mean, that's just what I think. And about the prequels, look, it is in the prequel era, so you will get some prequel-isms that I just don't like about the prequels. So those were things that, yeah, they bother me, and I kind of accepted that, so I kind of turned that off. Like, every time it's prequel, like, it's like, oh, sure, prequel, whatever. But, yeah, it is an issue. It just is an issue, and it's something that other people may have more of an issue with. Also, something I noticed in this comic, and I noticed in the prequels as well, sometimes in the prequels you have a wipe, and they go to another scene with boring expository dialogue, and then they wipe again to another scene with other expository dialogue, and it's different characters, and it goes all over the place. I mean, if you've seen the honest trailer for Attack of the Clones, you at one point you get a whole bunch of wipes, and you see how many wipes there are, and those wipes in Attack of the Clones are really like just to get to the next scene and get to some more expository dialogue with some character. That is sometimes in this comic as well. Like, you get to one point and then to another, and it's not that it's hard to follow. I was able to follow it, but it was just annoying that it didn't focus. I was like, couldn't you just focus on one story first and then on the next? So it might be just a little easier to follow and just overall more pleasant to read. No? Okay, so that's an issue with the comic then. So Anakin and Obi-Wan and Palpatine, those are the three big characters from the movies that we know who appear in this comic. Those are well done. There are some other characters though, completely forgettable. I mean, I think I got this comic like a month ago, so then I read it, and then I read it again right now, and just before I was going into the comic, I was like, who were the main people again? And I could not by the life of me remember who the other characters are besides Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine. And then I was reading it again, and it was like, oh yeah, there's a guy called Gregor, there's a woman called Mother Pran, and there's a girl called Kalara. I could not by the life of me remember those names just before I reread it again. So like, yeah, the side characters are forgettable and just like, who cares? I think that's really all I can say about the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic. I will give it a 6.5 out of 10. Like, the good parts are definitely good, but it does have some issues, and in the end, it just turns out okay. It's just a little weird. But I will say, if you want a little bit more between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and like, what the relation actually was, I say, check it out. Anyway, now that I've given my thoughts on the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic, I wonder, have you read it, and if so, what do you think of it? Do you like it? Maybe not. Please, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Look out for my Attack of the Clones review. It will be up maybe tomorrow or the day after. Anyway, it will be up soon, so look out for it. And as always, if you've liked my review and you want to see more of my movie, trailer, and Star Wars reviews, click right here.